a new world, a new name. He is Jiama now. Just a typical game full of auto battles and pay to win until it wasn't. To Jiama, Blessing of Miracle was once just a generic mobile game on a screen. The game's heroines, even as a background extra, their designs still stood out. The game's main characters stood ready, their digital world now Jiama reality. These main characters, while I'm just a background extra trying to blend in with a snack. A cursor frantically tapped the screen, a ghost of his past gaming days. Jiama now just background extra really wasn't having it. "Don't poke me," he roared, utterly furious. A sudden thud echoed, making the serious blue-haired girl's gaze sharpen. Jiama eyes darted wide, a sudden, shocking realization striking him. Jioma checks on the startled blue-haired woman at the subway, who quickly apologizes. Even in a game world, the subway delays are still the same. Almost. Jioma effortlessly tapped his phone, a beep, and he's through, adapting to this world without a hitch. Jioma stood, waiting. The elevator dinged, opening to an ordinary life he'd never known. Jioma inputs the code, beep beep. He's almost forgetting this is a game world. Jioma is finally home, met by an enthusiastic family greeting. New world, same family drama. A hand proudly presented Jioma an academy acceptance. His new family's pride just soared. His parents just wouldn't quit gushing about his academy acceptance. So embarrassing. Jioma's admission day was tomorrow, and his parents' excitement made him quickly remember he still needed to pack. Oops. His quiet hope for a normal life? Gone. This world had other plans for him. Jioma leaned back, sighing. Tomorrow meant Joaquin Academy, and there was no escaping his family's excitement. Despite Jioma's desperate pleas, his path to the academy was now set. No escape. Jioma stares at his family photo, grumbling about his unavoidable academy fate. Jioma's family, especially his brother, still couldn't quite believe he got into Joaquin Academy. Jioma is stunned, realizing the previous body's owner already passed the academy exam. Jioma stared at the acceptance letter, wondering if his predecessor was a genius. A blessing, the awakened power radiant and vast. Behold, blessings manifest as a warrior's fiery blade and a healer's gentle glow. A blessing shines with immense power, yet this formidable gift is not for everyone. Blessings are often passed down, shaping society and marking the difference between status. This was Joaquin Academy, a beacon for the elite, though once it simply trained heroes. Jiama groaned, his academy acceptance was all thanks to a special scheme. So why do they need heroes anyway? The reason is simpler than you think. The reason heroes are needed, simple. A terrifying demon king and his monstrous army plague this burning world. Jioma pondered his hero fate, another mandatory service but with more demons. Task. Jioma annoyed, pondered the whole blessings situation. A system window flashed for Jioma. These game-like pop-ups still felt so weird. So, this blessing of painlessness gives 30 seconds of relief for a 12-hour cooldown. Seriously? Jioma nearly burst into tears, staring at his ridiculously useless blessing stats. What a joke. Amidst his frustration, Jioma remembered his asterisk blessing, the one from the beginning. Jioma found his blade god blessing had a ridiculous blade size limit. What a joke. Jioma stared into the void, finding the power of the blade god too simple, almost unsettling. Jioma stared, the absurd blade conditions finally clicking in his mind. The blessing of the blade god was for a sashimi knife. Seriously? Jioma completely exasperated, screamed. This hero life was more annoying than glorious. Jioma slumped, a deep sigh escaping him as the weight of Joaquin Academy prep settled in. Jioma eyes widened, a blade god, yet no blade in sight. Expensive armaments floated by, but Jioma was just annoyed about the tuition for a school he hated. Jioma gaze sharpened. He absolutely couldn't show up empty-handed to the academy. Jioma let out a deep, weary sigh. The weight of his new reality was heavy. Jioma heads out, resigned to finding his blade god's weapon at the dollar store. Jioma smirked, remembering his teacher's expensive knives. Oh, the irony now. Jioma now in uniform, wondered who exactly you was. Another headache? A stern instructor glared, questioning Jioma rather unique weapon choice. Yes. Jioma thought, finding his dollar store blade conveniently on a 30% off sale. Asterisk done. Asterisk. Admissions day. Jiama Kang, with his dollar store blade, stood ready for the armament inspection. The stern instructor's intense gaze meant business for any unruly students. The instructor's fist slammed down, pure rage over the sashimi knives. Jioma Kang, undeterred, just looked back and insisted, "But this is my armament." The stern bald instructor stood frozen, his fury turning into genuine sweaty disbelief. The instructor's roar filled the air, met only by Jioma Kang's calm, "Sir." Jioma Kang couldn't burden his family with more costs for an expensive weapon. The instructor's eye twitched. A special entrant, and with that asterisk weapon? Oh dear. The stern instructor, seeing Jiama's name tag, realized his harsh judgment was wrong. The stern instructor, trying to recover, still had more to say. Jiama Kang stood firm, his gaze sharp, declaring that only the weak blame their tools. His profound words hit the instructor like a thunderclap, echoing the true spirit of a master. Jioma Kang's wisdom resonated, leaving the instructor stunned by his incredible tenacity and profound aura. The instructor, tears welling, hailed Jioma Kang with profound admiration. The instructor, fully accepting, acknowledged Jioma Kang's unique armament. The line moved forward. With the inspection over, Jioma Kang respectfully thanked the instructor, ready for what was next. Elitist students sneered and scoffed, openly mocking Jioma Kang and his lowly presence. The instructor roared for quiet, directing everyone to move along. Jioma Kang, still unimpressed. The instructor's intense lecture had Jioma Kang feeling like he'd stumbled into military boot camp.
Phew!
The Grand Academy stretched out. Jioma Kang really just needed some rest. Jioma Kang slumped onto a park bench, utterly drained. Academy life was proving to be quite asterisk the workout. Jioma Kang slumped on the bench, utterly drained, barely ready for the dreaded class placement exam. His gaze was heavy, the upcoming exam already a burden. Jioma Kang gazed at the Grand Joaquin Academy, his new home for the next 3 years. The academy loomed like a small city, far grander than any screen could show. Jioma Kang leaned back, a small smirk playing on his lips. "Okay, I'll admit it's impressive." Jioma Kang rests on a bench, a far cry from his past, now attending an elite academy. Jioma Kang sighed, another announcement. The dreaded class placement exam was almost here. Jioma Kang, adjusting his uniform, knows the important placement exam is already here. Jioma Kang smirked, his sashimi knife glinting, ready to test his unique blade before the big exam. Jioma Kang remembers his old teacher's lessons, his grip firm on the sashimi knife. Jioma Kang carefully felt the blade, steeling himself for the next challenge. Jioma Kang tested his sashimi knife with a flick. A small smile hinted at his satisfaction. Jioma Kang gripped his blade. "Let's try cutting a leaf." Asterisk shing. Asterisk's practice began. With a powerful crackle, Jioma Kang's sashimi knife activated his blessing of the blade god. Blade glowing, Jioma Kang stared. The system, however, gave him a harsh grade report. Jioma Kang was stunned, his blessing activated just by unsheathing his knife, with new limitations applying. The blessing's light shone, but Jioma Kang's eyes flared with intense determination. Jioma Kang screams, his sashimi knife crackling with intense raw power as the blessing ignites. Jioma Kang screamed, his blessing's power surging beyond control. "I'm gonna..." A blinding flash erupted as the blade god's blessing surged. Jioma Kang stood firm, the blade god's blessing rumbling, reshaping reality around him. Jioma Kang stared, completely bewildered, as his blessing's power erupted around him. His grip slipped as the sashimi knife surged with raw power. With an overwhelming surge, the sashimi knife slipped from Jioma Kang's grip, landing with a powerful clang. Jioma Kang was enveloped in blinding blue light, utterly shocked as his blessing's power continued to surge out of control. Jioma Kang, sweaty and stunned, gazed at the academy. The chaos was over. What in the world just happened? Still reeling, Jioma Kang clutched his head, a throbbing pain echoing the blessing's wild power. Jioma Kang gritted his teeth, the intense backlash from his blessing leaving him in agonizing pain. Jioma Kang's hand trembled, the agonizing rebound of his blessing leaving him weary and in pain. Jioma Kang stared at his dropped sashimi knife, exhausted and frustrated. This blessing felt utterly useless. An academy announcement blares, pulling Jioma Kang from his thoughts to his next task. Jioma Kang grimaced at his dropped knife, deciding he couldn't just leave it. Despite the lingering pain, Jioma Kang reaches for his sashimi knife, his hand trembling as he mutters, "I'll be fine." Jeomakang's hand firmly gripped his sashimi knife, a silent vow of determination. Jeomakang screamed, his blessing backfiring as electricity surged, throwing him to the ground. Not fine indeed. Cheers echo across the grand training grounds. New students gather for their next trial. The grand arena buzzed with new students, eager for their class placement exam. Parents gossip and chuckle, exchanging stories of the fortunes spent on academy admissions. My. The distinguished old man spots someone, much to the green-haired official's surprise. The legendary Seven Stars hero, Siegfried von Nibelung, the Blade Emperor, makes his formidable appearance. Siegfried von Nibelung listens, his sharp eyes fixed as his legendary lineage to the founding hero is unveiled. Even the powerful sometimes stumble with words. Awkwardly, the VIPs decided it was time to return to their seats. Siegfried von Nibelung sighs, a heavy truth looms. Then his eyes sharpen with grim resolve. A legendary hero, Medea Poison, makes a grand entrance, casually greeting Siegfried after half a century. Siegfried eyed Medea's casual director's attire, but she just playfully scoffed at his 70 years of wisdom. Medea playfully offered Siegfried a youth boost, but he just lectured her on maturity. Medea Poison giggled, openly teasing Siegfried about his age, which only fueled his irritation. Medea Poison, with a playful smirk, found Siegfried's surprise quite amusing. Oh, the drama. Medea playfully jabbed, reminding Siegfried how he once loathed these snobs they now casually observed. Medea Poison, with a knowing smirk, teased Siegfried. You really care a lot about your granddaughter, huh? Siegfried silently considered, while Medea watched him with that familiar, knowing look. Cheers welcome some, while others offer chilling warnings. The Academy's true nature begins to show. Jeomakang stood alone amidst the Academy's chattering crowd, feeling like an outsider in a new, bustling world. Surrounded by vibrant hair, Jeomakang sighed. Was he the only one with plain black hair here? He definitely stuck out. Elite students scoffed, dismissing the special entrant as a lowly thing that stinks. Jeomakang's gaze sharpened, a silent challenge in his eyes. A lowly thing, huh? They'd soon see. Jeomakang watches, startled, as the assembly hall fills with murmuring students, all eyes drawn to a glowing entrance. Jeomakang stared, wide-eyed. What in the world was happening now? Students react with wide-eyed awe as a sparkling blue streak zips past with a clack. Jeomakang observes, unimpressed, while other students gape at the notable arrival. The Blade Emperor's granddaughter, Abel von Nibelung, makes her grand entrance, a sharp aura following her every step. Her sharp gaze cut through the murmurs. The Blade Emperor's granddaughter had truly arrived. Wounds here sting like reality, making every battle a truly painful struggle. No easy mode in this life. Within the chilling subspace, a sinister figure attacks, leaving chaos as shadows fall.
Siegfried explained the Academy's subspace battles have become a battle royale.
Talk about a warm welcome. Groups of 10, last one standing wins. A survival game, Siegfried realized as Medea gleefully confirmed, no limits on weapons. Siegfried questioned the noble advantage. Medea merely sighed. Academy funds come from them. Siegfried and Medea discussed the politics of getting their scheme approved, hinting at deeper Academy manipulations. The special admissions scheme was real. Jeomakang's face flushed, realizing his embarrassing predicament. Abel von Nibelung swept through the hall, leaving a murmuring crowd of awestruck male students in her wake. Even Jeoma couldn't help but notice. Jeomakang just smirked, watching students fall all over themselves. He knew why they were so captivated. Abel von Nibelung, a key heroine, her path intertwines with mine. The fated hero and heroine stand together just as the game foretold. The main characters rushed forward, leaving Jeomakang a solitary outsider in their perfect world. Jeomakang watched them go, deciding to keep his head down and stay out of their league. Jeoma clutched the Academy's career guide, wishing for peace, if only tapping it could guarantee a safe future. Jeomakang, dreaming of a peaceful life, pores over a career guide, watched by a smirking student. Jeomakang just wanted a quiet life, but the career guide boldly suggested heroes. Seriously. Jeomakang fumed, still sore from his blessing's backlash. A hero, his useless power said otherwise. Jeomakang gave a small clap, letting others handle world-saving, while he just dreamt of finding an easy job. A buzzing announcement detailed the 783rd cohort's class placement exam rules. Jeomakang looked up at the glowing crystal, knowing it was finally starting. The magic crystal pulsed, declaring the Battle Royale exam officially underway. Siegfried and Medea observed as the brutal battle royale rules for stars and dragons were laid out. Abel watches with a sharp gaze as the ranking tiers are revealed, two boys already grinning like hungry wolves. The elite students smirked, eager to see where everyone else would fall in the new class rankings. With the rules confirmed, Jiama Kang sighed, aiming to be just an ordinary and take it easy. The subspace generator roared to life, plunging students into the battle royale. A surge of power surrounded Jioma Kang, his resolve set he wouldn't draw his knife. The battle royale ends. Students collapse, but Rachel, calm amidst the chaos, emerges as Group 24's victor. With Group 47's exam complete, Siegfried and Medea quietly watched the lingering energy fade. Medea had a thought. Medea showed the quick results. Siegfried was impressed by this cohort's rapid progress. Medea reviewed Abel's battle royale stats, grinning. Even with a basic weapon, Abel's historical performance impressed the legendary sage. Siegfried von Nibelung nodded, a subtle pride in his eyes. A natural result of the Nibelung bloodline. Siegfried dismissed the last group as noble swine's offspring ready to leave, while Medea watched. Siegfried walks away, leaving Medea to playfully wave him off with a sassy "see you in the afterlife." Siegfried observed the exam with a sharp gaze, while Medea's concern deepened watching the students. Elsewhere, academy officials and important figures watched the battle results, their faces betraying surprise and careful observation. A massive tremor shook the subspace. Siegfried and Medea watched, completely stunned by the impossible surge. Students were scattered across the arena, a low murmur spreading as some struggled to rise. Jioma Kang's golden eye blazed. Was he sensing the impossible or unleashing it? A powerful whiplash asterisk of energy filled the air, stunning Medea as Siegfried watched on. Impossible slashes ripped through the subspace. Medea defended fiercely, while Siegfried reeled from the sheer overwhelming power. Medea gasped as Siegfried's seasoned gaze finally showed fear. The very subspace itself, it couldn't hold. It shattered into countless pieces, revealing a dazzling, impossible light. The subspace continued to tear, shards of reality scattering across the sky with a fierce if-w wash. The subspace shattered, leaving these officials utterly bewildered by the impossible sight. Blinding impacts crashed into the arena, debris flying, leaving officials utterly shocked. Fwoosh! Students, no longer in the subspace, crashed into the arena below. Do they always fall out like that? A searing flash erupted, tearing through reality itself. What just happened? Jiama Kang's eye flared, a storm of power swirling within his gaze. A colossal pillar of blinding energy erupted from the stadium floor, marking a devastating impact. Medea screamed for medics, her face etched with urgency as Siegfried stood beside her, his expression grim amidst the unfolding chaos. Jioma's sashimi knife pulsed with destructive power, tearing through the shattered subspace. Hurry! Jioma Kang's eyes burned with overwhelming power, an impossible energy surging through him. A blonde student screamed in disbelief and fury, completely rattled by the sudden overwhelming power. A sudden thump. Jioma Kang delivered a powerful blow, sending the shocked blonde student reeling back. Talk about a rude awakening. Jioma Kang unleashed a shocking, explosive blow, sending the blonde student reeling. Jiama gazed at the carnage. Students lay defeated, one getting stomped, another held helpless. This group was truly a nightmare. The wicked Mao twins from the Iron King family ruthlessly dominate their opponents. Jioma Kang clenched his jaw, rage building as he watched the prolonged torment of the students. This brutal mockery had gone on too long. Jioma Kang stood firm, fists clenched, wondering if his perceived weakness was why they were ignoring him. With a bored sigh, the blonde male student with red gauntlet effortlessly knocked out his opponent, finding the fight utterly uninteresting. The student counted his opponents. 2, he muttered, clearly unimpressed. Jun Mao cruelly stomps on a defeated student, eliciting a painful cry as Shun Mao coolly questions his twin's tally. Jioma Kang stared, his mind reeling from the unbelievable sight. Jun Mao ruthlessly stomped, crushing another student beneath his heel in the brutal arena. One student stood victorious over many fallen foes, while another smirked, making a chilling offer for the remaining opponent. Despite her trembling, the dark red-haired student stood firm, facing her observant peers in the ruined arena. Jioma Kang's face twisted in fury and disbelief. What new madness was this? Jioma Kang's eyes narrowed, grimacing. An easy victory? No, just another headache. On the shattered grounds, a lone girl steps towards the two elite students, their heavy treads echoing the grim aftermath. Hold on a minute, the student blurted, utterly bewildered by the sudden turn of events. With a blood-splattered gauntlet, the student grinned, savoring the girl's fear as he prepared for his next brutal move. The confident dark-haired male student with gold belt wore a sinister smirk, mocking his own brother. The predatory student, his red gauntlet visible, licked his lips with a terrifying, sadistic grin. Enough! Jiama Kang, his fury igniting, roared at the elite students in the broken battlefield. Jiama Kang erupted in fury, confronting the bullies. What the hell is wrong with you two? Jun and Shun Mao paused their cruel antics, finally noticing Jiama's defiant presence with a flicker of intrigue. Even in his uniform, Jiama Kang stood out, a constant target for the elite's dismissive whispers. The elite students just smirked and nodded, clearly enjoying the show. Shun Mao, with a cruel grin, begins his swing. This won't take long, Jun, he declares. A sudden, brutal strike. The stone floor was drenched in a fresh splutter of crimson. The predatory student grinned, his red gauntlet raised, while Jiama Kang met his cruel gaze fueled by a simmering fury. Jiama Kang boiled with helpless fury, agonizing over his next move against relentless torment. Amidst the chaos, a flash of realization struck Jiama Kang. Jiama Kang stared in shock as his sashimi knife pulsed with a brilliant, intense power. Jiama Kang grasps his blade, eyes burning as the blessing of the blade god erupts, raw power unleashed. Alone in the stark spotlight, Jiama Kang already feels the heavy weight of his new path. The arrogant elites could only stare in wide-eyed confusion at Jiama's unleashed power. Jiama's blade blazes with blinding power, tearing through the very space around him. Panic seized the elite students as Jiama's raw power shocked them speechless. Jiama Kang's glowing blade plunges towards the trembling girl as mocking laughter echoes from the shadows. Jiama Kang, eyes blazing, lunges with furious intent, ready to swiftly end this mockery with a devastating strike. Jiama Kang unleashes a furious leap, ready to end the conflict. Jioma unleashed his power, sending his cruel opponent flying. Jioma Kang unleashes his blessing, pushing forward, racing against a desperate time limit. Pain racked his body, but Jiama activated a new blessing, complete painlessness. Jiama's grip tightened as the blessing of the blade god flared to life, its raw power erupting in a blinding, sharp light. Jioma Kang screams in fury as a powerful red strike crashes into him. Jiama Kang's fierce resolve burns, his eyes fixed on the towering threat before him. Jioma Kang's glowing eyes narrowed. This wasn't a kitchen, he wasn't slicing fish, he was facing people. A furious memory flashes, Jiama Kang's first teacher, screams, reminding him knives are for fish, not foolishly cutting people. His eye blazes, the blade flashes, a decisive cut unleashed. A dazzling burst of energy erupts, a testament to the blade's devastating power. Jioma Kang's roar shakes the air, his blade a crimson blur hitting its mark. Jioma Kang, blade alight with the blessing, delivered a furious, decisive slash. Jioma Kang, ablaze with power, struck down his arrogant foe, leaving him utterly terrified. Jioma Kang stands tall, his blade gleaming as a defeated elite burns in the chaos. Even in his past life, Chef Kim pondered the peculiar uses of a sashimi knife. Jioma Kang watched his knife embed itself in the wall, utter shock replacing his fury. The master chef, a former gang member, stared down at the blinking fish. Respect was paramount. A flashback to Chef Kim's mastery as his hand expertly presses a fish, ready for a perfect sashimi cut. A young apprentice jokes with his sashimi knife, but Chef Kim's gaze is stern. His glowing sashimi blade slice deep, a chilling thought on the grim effectiveness of his chef's tools. The first teacher passionately lectured, the apprentice casually challenging his master's wisdom. The first teacher delivers a punishing blow, reminding the young apprentice of his place and respect. Mid-air, Jiama Kang unleashed another powerful strike, pixels scattering from his furious blow. Jioma's terror echoes his teacher's stern, judging gaze across the chaotic battlefield. Jioma Kang, a storm of power, stands ready, his blade humming with dangerous energy. The elite student screamed in pure agony as Jioma Kang's attack made blood splatter. The predatory student screamed, his eyes wide with raw terror as Jiama's brutal attack took its toll. Amidst the broken world, Jioma strides forward, his brutal attack leaving blood and desperate cries. The brown-haired student screams, violently flung backward by the brutal impact. Looks like he really should have stayed back. Jioma Kang's relentless steps echo as the terrified student screams, begging for help. The arrogant student could only stare, utterly stunned by the raw power unleashed. The elite student screamed, his face twisted in pure agony, desperately calling for help. The predatory student shrieked in sheer terror, his face a mask of agony as the blade found its mark. Jioma Kang's blade strikes true, leaving his terrified opponent screaming in sheer panic. The arrogant student could only stare, utterly bewildered by the sudden shift in power. Jioma Kang's attack landed with a sickening splat, leaving the elite student reeling in pure terror. The elite student's eyes screamed in pure horror, blood splattered from Jioma Kang's brutal hit. Jun Mao screamed, his face twisted in pure terror for Shun. Jioma Kang stands ready, blade glowing, as the red-haired girl stares in utter shock. Jun Mao's face twisted in panicked disbelief. Shun defeated by *that knife. Jioma Kang stood over the fallen elite, his awkward blade work somehow leaving a devastating mark. Jun Mao trembled, his gaze fixed, wondering if Jioma Kang's overwhelming power was just a fluke. Shun's defeat ignites a grim resolve in Jun Mao as he clenches his hand around his weapon. The predatory brown-hair male student powered up his gauntlet, a kerchunk echoing as golden energy surged. And then, with a flash, the elite students unleashed their blessings for defense, agility, and raw power. Grimacing, the predatory student unleashed all three of his blessings. A dominant elite unleashes immense blue power, sneering at Jiama's lowborn status. The predatory brown-hair male student activates his ultimate defense, challenging Jiama with a furious, confident grin. Jioma Kang focused, the last precious seconds of his painlessness ticking away. Time was running out. An elite student lunges, mocking Jioma Kang, who stands ready, his blade god blessing intensely glowing. With a terrifying grin, the sinister bald swordsman swore to crush Jioma Kang. Jioma Kang's painlessness dwindles. 7, 6, 5, what? Amidst the brutal chaos, Jiama's father lay defeated, impaled by glowing blades, his golden armor stained with blood. Jioma coughed blood, his body trembling as the horrific vision shattered his resolve, pain flooding back. Grimacing through pain, Jioma Kang gripped his glowing blade, counting down the precious seconds. 3, 2, the countdown hit 1, Jioma's eyes blazed, pain about to crash back. The blessing of painlessness expired. Jioma's world went black as agony violently engulfed him. Agony ripped through Jioma, but he struck. Phantom blades impaled his foes, a brutal echo of his own torment. His agonizing gaze, now sharp, reflected the torment of his awakened power. A soft rustle breaks the silence as the torment continues. Jioma Kang slowly opened his eyes, finding himself in an unfamiliar stark white room. Jioma Kang stirred, the agony of the battle still clinging to him. A quiet rattle, the man with blonde hair and glasses pushes open the door, his face serious. Jioma Kang finally stirred. A man in glasses quickly noticed, exclaiming, "The student is awake." A soft tread, a quiet clack, Jioma Kang's first steps after the storm. Jioma Kang stared, his eyes widening as a powerful presence loomed, instantly recognizing who stood before him. Jioma Kang stares, utterly stunned. These are the 7 stars, legendary heroes who defeated the Demon King's army generations ago. Siegfried, the legendary Blade Emperor, watched on, his expression intense, his thoughts unreadable. "How are you feeling?" Medea Poison, the academy director, asked with a cheerful, if intense, smile. Jioma Kang's eyes widened in disbelief. Why were they here of all places? "What is your name, boy?" Siegfried asked, and Jioma Kang respectfully answered. Siegfried's sharp eyes bore down, cutting straight to the point as he addressed Jioma. Siegfried's sharp gaze pierced Jioma. "What exactly have you done?" he questioned. Jioma recalls his blade's fury and the terrifying vision of his father still haunting him. Siegfried stood tall, his sharp gaze piercing as Jioma Kang looked up, feeling the intense pressure of the legendary hero. Jioma Kang, sitting solemnly on the hospital bed, braced himself for the consequences. Siegfried's sharp eyes bore into Jioma, an intense moment of silent challenge. Medea sighed, telling Siegfried to ease up a bit. Jioma was just a kid after all. Medea playfully nudges Jioma, explaining Siegfried's tough love while teasing his hard-headedness. Medea giggled playfully, with hearts floating around her, asking for Jiama's forgiveness. Medea's teasing left Jioma flustered, making even the Blade Emperor Siegfried stiffen up in shock. Jioma Kang stares, utterly stunned as Medea Poison leans in close, a mischievous grin on her face. Medea leaned in close, spilling secrets, leaving Giamma utterly bewildered. Medea dramatically reenacts Giamma's heroic rescue, making him a fairy tale prince as Siegfried watches on, amused. Medea's dramatic hero worship was making Siegfried sweat, and Giamma just looked utterly bewildered. Medea's dramatic flair continued, much to Siegfried's clear exasperation and Giamma's quiet observation. Medea smiles slyly, revealing the twins' dubious academy entry and their departure. Medea giggled, spilling the tea on the Mao twins, leaving Giamma Kang utterly bewildered. A knowing smirk spreads across Giamma Kang's face. Good riddance, indeed. Giamma looks surprised and a bit flustered, hesitantly responding to the sudden news. Siegfried drops a bombshell, leaving Giamma completely stunned in his hospital bed. Giamma Kang could only offer a forced, sweat-dropping smile, completely flustered by the latest turn of events. Giamma Kang's face was utterly twisted in bewildered shock. What new crazy situation was this? The Grand Academy stood, bright and imposing, as new days dawned for its students. From a grand library, an elegant blonde woman sighs, lost in thought. A luxurious room, bathed in sunlight. Medea Poison, the academy director, sips tea, a pensive look on her face. She reflects on the unprecedented events shaking the academy. Giamma Kang just stared, his sharp eyes refusing the offer with a simple, flat no thank you. Even the legendary heroes, Medea and Siegfried, were left utterly stunned. Medea, under the dazzling stars, playfully highlights the importance of joining the star class. Medea declared the subspace, not the elders, chose the top scorer, making Giamma's position clear. Giamma Kang's sharp eyes observed, thoughts swirling from Medea's explanation. What next? A firm no thank you rang out, leaving Giamma Kang utterly bewildered by the unexpected refusal. Siegfried watches with a sharp, stern gaze, dismissing something not meant for Giamma Kang. Siegfried's sharp yellow eye narrowed, dismissing whatever stood before him. The elegant lady teased Siegfried about his granddaughter, but he just sighed, confirming they both witnessed Giamma's shocking victory. Even Siegfried, sipping his tea, affirmed the subspace's choice. The Academy's decision was final. Siegfried, the Blade Emperor, watched Giamma's fight. He couldn't fathom how the clumsy student achieved so much. Giamma Kang's movements, swift and sharp, seemed to embody an instinct, a primal force. With a new resolve, a chilling declaration rings out, "I will cut." Siegfried focused intently, finally understanding the true essence of Giamma Kang's raw, powerful cutting technique. This was it, the true mastery of the blade, revealed in fiery chaos. Siegfried's sharp eyes widened, a profound truth about the blade finally clicking into place. Siegfried examined the fallen Giamma, sensing an untrained body as the elegant lady watched intently. The immense blue energy pulsed with blinding power, as if bearing a strength beyond its nature. Siegfried, teacup in hand, let out a soft sigh, lost in contemplation. Siegfried clacks his teacup down, surprised by his own competitive spirit bubbling up at his age. Siegfried's sharp eye narrowed, still grappling with this strange competitive spark against someone so young. Siegfried sighs, wistfully impressed by Giamma's heroism, wondering if he could have been his knight in shining armor years ago. The elegant lady playfully challenged Siegfried, enjoying her subtle jab in the lavish library. Siegfried, in a crisp white suit, sips his tea, delivering a sly jab. With a sly smirk, the elegant antenna hair lady challenged, inviting judgment about her very nature. The teacup landed with a sharp asterisk clack asterisk, its sound breaking the quiet. Medea's eyes were wide, her heart pounding as she watched on, surprised and utterly captivated. Delusional, Siegfried declared, leaving Medea flustered and blushing brightly. Medea's eyes shot wide open, a torrent of pure shock seizing her. Siegfried's competitive spirit was so fierce, his teacup couldn't help but crack under the pressure. The Academy's grand halls awaited. Giamma Kang paused, looking up the sweeping staircase. Wolf class. Giamma stared at the sign, a silent beat of surprise. Giamma Kang simply stared, a look of weary acceptance mixed with slight annoyance on his face. Giamma just wanted to be ordinary, but his top score made that impossible. Medea leaned closer, a bead of sweat on her brow, promising secrecy for a price. Medea mutters worriedly about the elder's fury, while Giamma watches her, a bit confused by her anxious state. Giamma Kang, trying to be discreet, pushed open the creaking door to his new class with a quiet ahem. Giamma Kang's eyes shot open, utterly shocked as a loud asterisk bang asterisk echoed beside him. Giamma Kang is utterly shocked as a hush falls over the grand classroom, all eyes on a prominent student at the front. Students watched with quiet intrigue, their gazes sharp. What was coming next? Jioma Kong, now officially part of the academy, name tag and all. Who knew paperwork could feel so momentous? The classroom buzzed with laughter and stories. Academy life isn't all intense training, is it? Even heroes need a break. Jioma walked the grand hall, ignored by chattering students, wishing they hadn't looked at him at all. Jioma Kang startled himself at his desk, the sudden rattle echoing through the quiet classroom. Jioma Kang watched, a quiet tune in his mind, content to remain out of sight. A knock echoed, stirring Jioma Kang from his thoughts. Who could be at the door? A nervous student approached Jioma, thanking him, leaving him completely bewildered. A nervous student approached Jioma, leaving him utterly bewildered. What now? A blushing, surprised, dark red-hair girl nervously spoke, her thanks about the test. Jioma Kang was bewildered by her formal greeting, wondering why she was acting like that. Jioma offered a casual smile, trying to brush off her thanks. Anyone would have done the same. Jioma sits, a sweat drop on his cheek. Despite the thanks, he feels like a total fraud. A polite smile on his face, Jioma Kang finally introduces himself. Jioma Kang and Chloe greet each other with polite smiles in their new classroom. Just moments after introductions, Jioma Kang managed a polite but strained smile, secretly wondering, Chloe, who is that? Jioma Kang pondered deeply. Chloe's name didn't fit his game knowledge, deepening his confusion about her unexpected presence. Jioma Kang, with a wide, almost pleading smile and open hands, quickly asked Chloe to keep his exam shenanigans a secret. Chloe hesitated, her earnest expression showing as she began to reply. Suddenly, the instructor's booming shout jolted Chloe, while Jioma Kang just calmly watched. Chloe, startled by the sudden command, can only nod as Jioma Kang coolly suggests they talk later. A textbook landed with a whack, and the instructor's voice welcomed everyone to the academy. Instructor Wonbin Lee, grinning wide, introduced himself, ready to impart the academy's legacy to the Wolf class. Instructor Wonbin Lee, teeth bared, announced their light physical training. Good luck, students. As the lecture began, a student raised his hand, curious about their upcoming training. Instructor Wonbin Lee laid out the simple class tasks, met by some surprised and overconfident students. Jioma Kang just stared. Was the instructor trying to make everyone go bald from stress? Jioma Kang, trying to stay unnoticed, sheepishly raised his hand to speak, catching instructor Wonbin Lee's attention. Jioma Kang wears a sly grin, already scheming to escape the impending training session. Jioma Kang gave a subtle smirk. He thought, already plotting his next move. Medea playfully arranged Jioma's star class training, leaving instructor Wonbin Lee with a wry, exasperated grin. Jioma Kang forced a smile, his mind a chaotic mess of secrets and curses for the academy director. Jioma put on his best eager student face, praising the training, but really he just needed a bathroom break. Poor, oblivious instructor. Jioma Kang huffed and puffed, those simple physical tasks turning out to be quite the workout. Jioma put one foot in front of the other, each step a testament to his enthusiasms for training. The Wolf class hit the dirt track for training. Jioma huffed and puffed, trying to keep up with the rest. Jioma Kang pushed himself, regretting his earlier fake enthusiasm, huffing and puffing through the drills. The drills continued. Students struggled. Jioma Kang, pushed to his limits, internally cried, "I'm gonna die." Chloe looks at a visibly drained Jioma Kang, his face pale and sweaty, asking if he's all right. Jioma, drenched in sweat, tried to play it cool as Chloe worriedly asked about his lapse. Jioma ran ahead, casually asking Chloe about her pace, already leaving her behind. Chloe, looking surprised and a little winded, reveals she's already on her 9th lap. Jioma Kang looked utterly bewildered, sweat trickling down his face as he tried to process the unexpected. Chloe runs alongside, beaming with encouragement. "You got this, Jioma. Keep at it." Jioma watched Chloe zoom past, still full of surprising energy. Jioma Kang pushes on, sweat dripping, utterly bewildered as others rush past him.